Hi, I'm your host, Ricky Booker. Welcome back to a brand new season in the Kitchen with the Breakfast Brothers.
It's time to get on up and whip it up with them Breakfast Brothers. It's time to get on up and whip it up with them Breakfast Brothers. Yeah, it's time to get on up and stir it up. It's time to get on stir it up and whip it up. Yeah, it's time to get on up.
Welcome to a brand new season in the Kitchen with the Breakfast Brothers. I'm your host, Ricky Booker. There are so many things in the world that brings us together. Good food, little conversation does it every time. In the Kitchen with the Breakfast Brothers, we love feeding your soul. Today's guest is the president, JJT Media Group, has served sports fans for over nearly 30 years as an award-winning journalist. Let's give a warm welcome from my brother from another mother, Jean-Jacques Taylor.
What's going on, lady? Doc, it's been a minute. You went from working on cars and dealing with sports guys to cooking food and eating Breakfast Brothers now.
And here we are.
Here we go, man. I remember when we first met, I remember your son was a little bitty boy running around in the driveway.
Yeah, now you're in college.
Yeah, that's something else. That's how long we've been knowing each other. But, man, I'm really excited to talk to you about all the ventures that you've had when it came to the journalists from Dallas Morning News, ESPN, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you name it, I've done it.
Yeah, I've been seeing you done it. Now we got to the point of JJT Media.
Well, Doc, I got sick of getting laid off. So, when you get laid off from a magazine, from a ESPN, and then you get laid off from a radio show, and then you get laid off from a TV station, you decide, let me do this for me, because I'm not gonna ever lay me off.
No.
And from that, you create a company, and then you just see where it goes, and it's kind of evolved quite a bit. But I like it. I love it. I have a good time doing it.
But you know why they lay you off? The people that usually get laid off first
Tell the truth.
is the one that make all the money.
Not all the money, but some of the money.
Yeah.
Basically, your salary cap cash.
I'm finna say that.
That's absolutely correct.
And so at one level, you work hard to get to the point where you're making a good living, but you understand that's what comes with it. And so, like I said, it happened 3 times in about 3 years, and I just decided there must be a better way.
Now, I'm going to flip the script. I'm going to go all the way left.
Go.
Did Des Bryant catch it?
No, he did catch it, man. It's the catch. There wasn't a catch. It should have been a catch.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with that is there was still like 3 or 4 minutes left, and the defense had to stop Aaron Rodgers all day long.
All day long.
So that was not a guarantee of a dub. It was just a lead at that particular point. But Des caught it, and he'll be happy that I said he caught it.
Because he's still saying it.
Oh, he's still mad about it.
I caught that ball. But, when you leave, they always say this, when you leave it in the hands of the referees, it's when you have a problem.
Yeah, we had a lot of problems in the NFL this year.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you this question. What do you think about some of the new rules?
Well, I think the rules are fine. It's the interpretation of the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And with this year, there's been a lot of inconsistency with the officials. And you shouldn't be leaving games talking about officials. You should be talking about the players that made plays or didn't make plays. But there's way too much conversation about officials, and it's something that the league has to look into and has to figure out how to deal with it for one reason only. There's so much gambling going on right now that you can't have all this money that you're making on gambling and all these questions about officials and why certain calls were made.
That you're absolutely correct. Now we're going to go to the point of what you knowing, all the things that you know. I'm going to just call you the encyclopedia of sports. Let's go backtrack. What made you decide that you want to become a journalist?
Well, there's 2 versions of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe the first version. And the first version is my father. He told me this the other day when we were talking. He says, yeah, man, you sitting around 5 or 6 talking about you want to be a sports writer. I just really can't see that. I just really can't. Now that's his story, and he stuck to it for a minute. I just don't see it. But the real story is I started really thinking about it when I was about 10. And by the time I got to middle school, I kind of figured that's what I wanted to do. And I just kind of set everything up in my life to do that afterwards. And so the fortunate part for me was, and you know this, when you decide early what you want to do, while all your other friends and all your other people in college are figuring out and changing majors, you can really streamline it and focus on what you wanted to do. And so I went to college with a plan. I was going to cover Ohio State football my junior year. I was going to be the sports editor my senior year. Then I was going to cast my light into business. And I basically followed that plan.
And you said something earlier on. Viewers, I want to tell you this. This is the world we live in, and sometimes we don't do this. He said he followed his plan.
Nah,
and he did it.
I understand. It was my plan.
Play.
Wasn't my parents' plan. Wasn't they were cool with it. And I said it's because I was telling somebody this the other day. Literally that I had called my mom up my junior year and said, "Hey, I'm covering the football team this year. I'm only taking one class."
One class.
Right. And then I called up later and said, "Hey, I'm the sports editor. I'm only taking one class." She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I need to do the best I can do right now while I'm covering the team and I'm being the sports." And then I called and said, "Hey, I'm taking the fall off because I'm going to come back to Dallas and take an internship." "You taking the fall off?" And then I stayed 6 months. And the thing I loved about my mother, the thing I loved about my dad, my parents they're like, "It seemed like you know what you're doing. I don't really like it, but it seemed like you know what you're doing, so ride with it." And I love that support, and it helped me out quite a bit and allowed me to, 3 weeks after I graduated, while all my colleagues, all my friends in school looking for jobs, I'm chilling because I'm starting at the Dallas Morning News the first Monday in January.
Now, that was 1985.
Wasn't quite that long.
I'm messing with you.
I was going to say, you were 85 or 84 grads yourself.
Yeah.
So, no, it was since January 92.
Yeah. And I think I moved to Dallas in 94. So you've been there a couple of years. Jock, you was one of, I forget the name of, what is the lady's name that used to write, the nationwide, that used to write in the paper that everybody used to say,
Now, here you are putting me on the spot.
article. I forget her name. I remember my mother, her sisters, everybody used to go to, I'm just going to say Miss Lulu.
Okay.
And they used to go read her articles in the newspaper.
Right?
So you was kind of like that person.
You can't call me Miss Lulu.
Well, I'll call you Mr. Jock then. I couldn't remember her name. I almost like a Murder, She Wrote type of lady that was in the paper back then, nationwide.
Right.
Small article, kind of like back when I was young.
You talking about Dear Abby?
Dear Abby, yeah.
Well, shut up.
Dear Abby, you Dear Abby of sport. You really was, man. I'm just telling you. When I first met you, when I was in the car business, I did your car.
I mean, Dear Abby dead, man. But she gone like 20 years.
Yeah, but that was the pinnacle point where people went and got the newspaper to read her article.
Okay, I like
When I was young boy, I got the Jet magazine to look at the centerfold. So you was the brother that at Dallas Morning News that people went and listened to what they was gonna see next, read next about sports. You was Jerry Springer of sports. They hate Jerry, but they still want to watch him to see what will happen.
Well, a lot of people, I don't say they hate me, get mad at me, but that's because it's the truth, man. It's the truth about the Cowboys. Whether you love them, hate them, it's not my job to have hope, faith, and optimism. It's my job to tell you the truth about what's going on with the team, and that's what I've done for a long time.
And with being said that, how long did you write about the Cowboys?
I'm still writing about the Cowboys in various forms. I covered the beat from 1995 to 2006, and then I became a columnist and covered it through 2007. But I'm still covering them, man, in some way, shape, form, or another, because I've got a podcast now, Jacques Talk, and I talk about them out there. I do some writing for some clients about them. And so it's the Cowboys are kind of like the epicenter of what I do. It's just a matter of who I'm doing it for. At a various time, but as I told somebody, the Cowboys are great for business, whether they winning or whether they losing. They're great for business,
and that's how I knew that your articles was very important to Dallas forward, because my wife was a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Right.
When I first met you, when we was doing the cars, I said that early on. She told me, she said, "Why you got to drive to DeSoto? I got to take this car to DeSoto." And she said, "Who you taking to?" I said, "A sports guy named Jean-Jacques Taylor." She said, "Real? I read his articles." She knew about you before I did, because, she wanted to see what I thought about a Cowboy player. That's Cowboys. But that's right then and there is what made me realize that, you said it, but I'm going to say you was the Dear Abby of that part, of that time, and you still doing your thing. But,
well, I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, but we're going to talk more at the sit down.
Yeah.
You get your food, but in time.
I'm waiting for that.
All right, we're here at the sit down with Jean-Jacques Taylor. We're going to talk a little bit more about the industry he's in and being a journalist and the years and time, and then also going to talk a little bit about his new book he's got out with Deion Sanders. Man, Jock,
man, we just talk.
Yeah, we just talk. You right about that. With knowing you as much as I've been knowing you, man, it's just like you all over the place, and that's in a good way. Now you're in a position to where you're doing a lot of things with companies now, because you're independently. Entrepreneur, you call me entrepreneur, your son's entrepreneur, but I think We learned a lot of. We took a cover from your book too. So tell us a little bit about what strives you to move in the way you move when it comes to writing.
Well, I think first off, I love to write, and so writing is. I like sports because it's fun. You never know when you're gonna be on the cusp of history. But as we talked about earlier, as I was getting laid off, and all this happened right around COVID with my radio show on ESPN was kind of like the last thing. And when COVID popped up, you sitting around here deciding, like, okay, COVID is going. Nobody's going to sports. I'm on the sports talk radio show. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody buying advertising. It's only a matter of time till something happens. So what am I going to do? And I'll never forget it, man. I was working out with my boy at his apartment complex because all the gyms had shut down. Mm-hmm. And it was in July. And I had told him, I said, I was headed to a wedding that night. And I looked at him, I said, you know what? I think I can write love stories and people will buy them. And so I told my wife, I said, hey, don't buy them a gift. Give them a card that said, I'm gonna give them a gift. I'm gonna write their love story. And so they got back from the honeymoon when they interviewed them, wrote their love story. And I did some stuff you would do. I presented it to them and I videoed it when I did it. And the woman went crazy and the dude was all happy. And I put it on Facebook. And I said, hey, this is what I do at the JJT Media Group. The next day I had like 10 orders. And so I was like, okay, I can do this. And, but that was just the first step. And so it evolved from writing love stories. You know, I wrote, people love their pets. I was writing pet stories for people. Then I started writing celebrations of life because I always thought it was bad when you die, you're 90 years old. You know, he came to Christ at an early age and went to this school, he worked this job, he married this woman, he died. And I was like, it got to be more than that. And so I started writing those. And so all of these are kind of the same thing, but it was all writing. And then I started writing for some companies and telling stories. But, I like talking to people. I like telling people stories. And everybody's got a story. Like, you got a story, I got a story. Everybody around here's got a story. Most people just don't get to tell their story.
Right.
And so what I like to do is I like to tell stories, man. And I like to tell them for people's businesses or 501c3s because... one, I like to do it, and two, it's helpful because if people connect to your story, a lot of times they connect to your business, they connect to your nonprofit, and ultimately that helps you.
And with you being such a writer, you got to the point where, I'm not gonna say all the greats, but all the greats.
I know a lot of them.
Yeah, you know a lot of them, and being in your career and covering the Super Bowls and covering some of the great sports teams, you had the opportunity to write a book with Dion. Tell me the beginning and how it started. And this is a new book, came out in October.
October, baby.
Let's talk a little bit about how that came about.
It was wild. It's like a lot of my career, man. It's I say it's God ordained because things just happen real quickly and there's really no explanation for how they happen like they happen. And I was sitting around minding my own business one day when Sports Illustrated called and said, literally, hey, we heard you the Dion Whisperer. And I started laughing, only because I'd done a lot of stories for ESPN's The Undefeated on it. And because of our relationship, I spent more time talking to him because he didn't like a lot of media. And so I said, I wouldn't say that.
But Dion doesn't like a lot of media.
He really doesn't. He's dealing with the media. He's good with the media.
Right.
But he doesn't necessarily engage with specific people.
Right.
I said, so I wouldn't say I'm the whisperer. I said, I just know him. We got a good relationship. And they're like, well, we want to do a cover story on Sports Illustrated. You interested? Cover story on Sports Illustrated. I'm interested. What you think? I mean, I grew up reading Sports Illustrated, so yeah, it's a great opportunity. So I called him up and said, hey, SI wants to do this. What you think? He's like, good. Come on, let's set up a date. Let's talk. We did it. The story turned out really well. And literally 2 days after it hit the newsstands, the people at HarperCollins called and said, hey, we've been looking for somebody to write a Dion book for a couple of years. Are you interested? I said, heck yeah, I'm interested. So we talked about it literally on a Friday, and I called him and said, hey, Doc, this opportunity is here. What you think? He's like, I got you. Whatever access you need, I got it. And, people spend a lot of time trying to get book deals, man. I got the call on Friday. I talked to an editor and a publisher at HarperCollins on Monday, and a contract on Wednesday, man.
Deion Sanders and the Making of Men.
And it was signed and sent back on Friday.
Hello, welcome to Breakfast Brothers.
Hey, what's up?
Oh yeah, I forgot you gonna order some food. We get to talk.
You don't think I'm gonna get in here and not order?
Go ahead.
Can I get you started with something to drink?
Just water for me. No lemon.
No lemon. Would you like ice in that water?
Yes, please.
Okay, gotcha. Have you had a chance to look at the menu, decide what you're having today?
Oh yeah, it wasn't even a big deal. I was going with the regular waffle, but I was told I should not leave without the red velvet waffle.
Oh yeah, that's our famous one. You gotta try it.
All right, that and some wings.
Fried wings, okay? Would you like a flavor of those wings, or we just bring them out plain?
I want plain because I'm gonna dip them in some of this sauce over there.
So bring them all 3 sauces aside of the sauce.
Side of each. Okay, we got the kale, the honey lime crack, and then the hangy sauce. I'll bring it on the side.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, but it's Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and the making of the man. And just what's the transition? How quick did you write this? So you already know this guy, you know. And I like the way you said earlier when you said I gave him cause and say dog. You know, he used his word, say dog.
I mean, as I talk. But I mean, it was an interesting book to write because as much as I've been around the league, covering the NFL since 1995, as much as I've done with football, I've never been in a situation where I can be basically embedded with the team, have access to meetings and players, and really understand how they start and how they play and what goes into a game and a season. And so that was really the beauty of it, man, because I actually moved to Jackson for 6 months.
Also, you lived down there at the same time.
Yeah, I got me an Airbnb, and I lived in Jackson from August until December, and I was spending, I was there, dog, 8 hours a day, if not longer, because his first team meeting for Deion is like at 7:15 every morning. So I'd be there from 7:15 to 3, 4 o'clock most days. And a lot of it's just observational, just watching how it goes, you know, how the coaches operate, how the players interact, how he interacts with everybody. And then when the season was over at the Celebration Bowl in the middle of December, season's over, now it's time to get to work. And so I wrote it over the next, I think I turned it in the beginning of April. So about 4 months to get it done. That's a lot of work, man, and not a lot of time.
I do really say that, but you look at the time that you spent putting in. You moved to Jackson, Mississippi, and created this monumental to Deion Sanders, his family, and to anybody that's a Deion Coach Prime fan. And then not only that, Jackson State people as fans, they got something they can read.
Well, I think the interesting thing about it is you see what he's doing in Colorado now. Yeah, I tell everybody, if you don't understand why I believe ultimately he'll win at Colorado and why he'll win, is all in there, because it tells you why he's the coach he is, you know, what kind of man he is. It's called the making of men because, you know, he's been coaching for a long time. He coached the Truth around here.
Remember that.
For several years, little kids from 5 or 6 up until 13 or 14. So he's been coaching a long time, man, because what he really enjoys shaping kids and teaching them about life and how to be men. Why? Because somebody did that for him when he was a kid.
Right.
He is the way he is. He is the man he is in large part because of the coaches he had at the youth level and the high school level and the collegiate level. And this is his way of giving back.
And you said it early on, what moves you is telling people stories. It's a different, we talked offset earlier too about how, you know, you have writers, you can have personalities, journalism, radio personality, TV personalities, to where it may be boring to some people, to where the interest that you write when you come to writing, it's just like, took you 4 months to do this. You know, I don't know nothing about writing, but a book this thick would take some people 4 years to do. But man, this is major and this is big. And not only that, I've been told by my co-hosts and some of the cast members, they say, man, when you talk to certain guests, you be so comfortable. The guests that I talk to that I'm comfortable, there's organic is the people that I know.
Right.
So, you know, the organic relationship you have with Deion already created your mind to go in at 7 o'clock every day, and you know how he think, you know how he moves. So that's probably why ESPN call you the whisperer of Deion.
That's a good point. The other thing is, the same type of conversation we had, the easy flow, I had with him. And so it's not like you sitting there question and answer. We have much more conversations and interviews.
Yeah.
And he's a good dude. In a lot of ways he's misunderstood. He doesn't care though, and that's the beauty of him. The beauty of Deion, and the reason why people either love him or hate him, is he's one of the few people in the world who's authentically himself.
Right.
And what I mean is he really doesn't care. Most people say they don't care, but they really do. He really doesn't. And when you're rich and you're powerful and you understand what your purpose is, then you don't care what people think. You don't care what people say. And it's liberating, and there's a big degree of freedom that comes with that when you don't care what other people think.
So, Jock, with all the stuff that you've done, what's next for Jean-Jacques Taylor?
I think it's trying to make the JJT Media Group a bigger deal, more of a household name, because people see me as just a sports writer, and that's cool, but I don't want to be just a sports writer. I want to be an author, which I am, but I want to be, when I say an author, I mean...
I'm here to say you are, look, Jean-Jacques Taylor, you are the main thing.
No, I'm an author, but I want to be like, I want to be one of those dudes that produces a book every 2 years. Yeah. Like, I did this one, okay, now I got the next one coming out. I want to get to the point where people say, hey, it's about time for Taylor to come out with a book. What's he doing next? It's like when people come out with albums and CDs, like, oh, they ain't had a CD in a couple years. When's it coming out? What's next? Yeah. That's what I want to get at. My business, we tell people stories for companies and businesses, but I want to even expand that and do more in terms of press releases and really work with companies to help them tell their stories, because every company got a story, because every owner of every company got a story. And I really want to focus on small businesses and, like I said, nonprofits, because those are the people who need their story told most. Because when you get with companies and you tell their story again, it's all about connection, man. And when people connect with your story, they come support your business.
I'm going to tell you something that I hadn't spoken on, and, I didn't talk to you about it, but...
You're telling secrets now.
I'm going to tell it on TV right now. I'm actually a board member of Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce this 2024 this year, getting ready to be active. I'm actually board member for Texas Restaurant Association, director of board there, and also co-chairperson of the event.
Now, we got time to do all that in Friday Saturday.
But the thing is about it, we also got it set up to where we have corporate trainer now. So Breakfast Brothers became a company to where it's almost in the direction of where I won't say it don't never need me, but now I got people in position.
Yeah, that's what's up right there.
Yeah, in position to where now it could take me away from to start doing that, because you mentioned something about people's telling their story. Breakfast Brothers is gonna be the first one that we're gonna start doing press releases. We got a new concept of the exterior look that we get ready to launch. I want you to be part of the press release, writing the story. But once I get in the system, it's a lot of companies that's members of these chambers that have stories that don't have the know-how, they had to get to how to tell them. So I'm gonna tie you into all of that. Texas Restaurant Association bring you to all of these board meetings and introduce you to these areas to where now it's gonna get bigger and bigger for you. Not saying that little Ricky Booker gonna do it for you.
No, don't take little Ricky Booker, because I ain't trying to hear all that.
Yeah. But you gotta understand something. I'm gonna give you that mic, and we're gonna go back to music. That 5 minutes of fame that you get when you get on that platform,
right,
it'll be up to you. But I'm gonna give you that mic. I'm gonna pass it forward. I'm gonna be in position to do that, and we're gonna start with Breakfast Brothers doing press releases. We get ready to do an expansion here in Oak Cliff, and I want you to be a part of that too. But I'm gonna let you.
I'm not gonna eat pretty either, so
you ain't supposed to. It's like you at home.
No, see, that's a great opportunity, man. But
some syrup for that waffle, but you don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't.
I was gonna say put it on the side. It's always sweet now. But it's all about relationships, man.
Yeah.
People ask me how I get a relationship with Dion. I can tell you exactly how it happened. I treated Dion like Dion.
Right.
I didn't treat him like he was a big superstar.
You weren't trying to get no picture and autograph.
And then I figured out who he was and what he was all about. And so when I said he don't like to talk, he will talk, but I peeped him for about a year and a half because he wasn't talking much when he came to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured out he enjoys much more talking to about other people than he does about himself. So first big story I did on him, I said, hey, you leading punt returns. Can I do a story? And he was about to say, no. I said, oh, no, hold on. I want to do it on the 10 guys blocking for you. He said, oh, you want to do it on them?
Okay.
I said, yeah. He said, oh, come on, sit down. And so he filled up a notebook, and I went through every one of them, one by one. What'd he do, da-da-da. Wrote the story, showed it to him, because internet wasn't really popping back then.
Right.
And he came back a couple days later, a day later, whatever, and he said, that's a good piece of work. Anytime you need, come holler at me. And I didn't, but that's how it started.
Right.
But it just kind of progressed from there. And we stayed in touch over the years. And, here I am working on a book.
You did your research.
Mm-hmm.
You did your research. That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's honey line.
Well, see why you call that crack, dog. Let me get some more of that.
Yeah. But those two flavors together, the red velvet waffle and the crack wings, combination.
Now, how you come up with the red velvet waffle?
Well, first thing I did before we opened up, I went and researched in Dallas-Fort Worth. I didn't care about what it's nowhere else, just Dallas-Fort Worth, because that's the market we was in. And at the time, I didn't see no red velvet waffle on the market nowhere. Promise you, this was in 2021, January. We opened up January 26, 2021 in Arlington. And there was no red velvet waffle on the market. And if anybody saying it was,
They lying.
they lying. Now they all over.
They lying like a big dog because we in Oak Cliff.
Yeah. I wanted something, always a signature about a restaurant you have to have.
Right?
Nowadays, when they call it the foodies, they want something. I don't care if you do a chili dog. You can't be a regular chili dog. It got to be stuffed in a blanket of bread and powdered with chili and
Right.
messy as look, they can become. And that chili dog gonna get bought. And it may be a $25 chili dog, but they're gonna buy it as a specialty. So it took me 6 months coming up with the recipe for that red velvet waffle. 6 months. It was coming out flat, coming out pink. The colors wasn't right, and then finally hit. Perfect fluffiness, softness, and everything. And the great thing about the waffles at our Breakfast Brothers Express, they deep fried waffles. So you taste that deep fried.
What's the drizzle on?
The drizzle is sweet cream, powdered sugar. The sweet cream is actually like if you go to Jason's Deli and they give you that with the strawberries. That's what that is. Man, Jock, it's been a pleasure, man. And just tell, I already asked you what's your next move, but just tell everybody where they can get this book and how they can get it.
You can find it obviously on Amazon.com, Walmart.com, wherever you buy books, BarnesandNoble.com. If you want an autographed copy, you can send it to me at Jacques at JJTmediagroup.com. I'll get it back to you with shipping and handling. Cost is $25. And then if you're looking for me, I'm easy to find. I ain't really hard to find. I'm on Twitter at JJT Journalist. I am Jean-Jacques Taylor. And I use LinkedIn quite a bit, so I'm on there, Jean-Jacques Taylor. Because, as I transition from sports into the business world, like one of my favorite clients has a hair care company. And I love doing work for her. Why? Ain't got nothing to do with sports. And I don't know nothing about hair. And so it's a learning experience. And so I'm all about learning and growing, man. And that's the best thing about the JJT Media Group, right? Yes.
Man, once again, man, Jock, I enjoyed the time and I appreciate you coming out. You need to sign my copy too before you leave.
I got you, dog.
I want to get it signed, but join us each and every Saturday right here. I'm your host, Ricky Booker.